Peace, immortals. Welcome to the Original Titan channel. If you're new, I invite you to kick back, check out the podcast and the cartoons relating to this impending post shift that we're all experiencing now on the earth. Today, we're going to continue our interview with the co-founder of Mimic, that's Melanated Immortals Making Evolutionary Changes. She is the High Priestess, Em Makenru Amen, author of the books What's in Your Womb and Unwounded, Unlocking the Universal Uterus. Now, Mayat decided to experience complete darkness for 7 whole days by herself, with no light seeping through the windows, through the doors, no candles, no flashlights, no nothing. Now, let me just say to those that are hearing this for the first time that this was not a forced or coerced situation. In fact, quite the opposite. This was a form of going back into the womb, of being reborn, and of experiencing the universal womb of vast knowledge. High Priestess, welcome back.
All right. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay, good. Now, as you know, there was an overwhelming response to the first part of the interview, but the questions that I should have asked came after the fact. But before we dive in, tell us what you're doing, what's going on with you now at present.
So, in the present, what we're going to be doing is going on the road with the MECA frequency. That is, MECA is an acronym for Melanin Emerging Collective Consciousness Alignment, and it is a 52-week vigil, energy vigil for the betterment of the melanin dominant people worldwide. Okay, and so each week, or each wave as we call it, we have a new transmission and a new host. We have invited groups, different groups from all over. We don't have to agree on the same thing. We don't have to have the same philosophy. The only thing we agree on is that what we're doing is for the betterment of the melanin-dominant population worldwide. And we have a new transmission, and currently we are on wave 18. And
wow.
So we've been doing this now for a while. So, yep.
It sounds good. Now, when we think of darkness, we can relate that to our melanin. So I'm presently taking your Woke mini courses that began a few weeks ago. And although I'm not new to the spiritual journey, I'm learning so much, Mayat. Now, in that class, you mentioned melanin magic. Give the audience a little taste of some of the functions that our magical melanin gives us.
So, just in general, this is, I don't know how much of common knowledge it is. Melanin as a molecule is, it's a polymer, which means it sticks to things. It's a neurotransmitter. Okay, so it literally transmits from the brain and from the neurons all over the body. And then it is also a neural receiver. Okay, so it can receive. And I learned this from my teachers. This is not my research. There have been many before me, Dr. Carol Barnes, Dr. Joel Pookrum, Timothy Moore, all of these and more, and numerous other who have researched this, and I've read their books. I've been, taught by some of them, and so I'm just taking it and putting my own little twist on it. So with that, melanin, it's found in high concentrations in the genitals, okay, in the brain, and not almost all the organs are coated with black. People who go in and they do research and they open up cadavers, they have to really peel back. Like when we see the pictures of the organs, they have peeled back the layer of melanin that's on it. We know that in the ovaries, those are covered with blackness. Okay, and so it's interesting that a lot of people think that in the female, the eggs because they're not moving around like the sperm and things like that, the ovums, they're not moving around. They move slowly, but they have a pulse. They're not dead, okay? They literally have a pulse. And in the Akan tradition, the elders, the ancestors, they taught that the eggs in a woman are well, they didn't say neural receivers. I'm just translating. These are neural receivers and neurotransmitters from the ancestors. Wow, that's why we have so many. There's nothing in the body that's designed to just be disposed of. You know, we know we're not going to have a million children or whatever, so they have to be there for a reason. Okay? Mm-hmm. So they're there and transmitting. Go ahead.
I was going to say there are more sessions left in this Woke Mini course. Will they be available for purchase after the last session?
Yes, so this is going to be a self-study after the course, and so it will be available. You know, I don't have an actual date, but definitely if you're interested, get on the email list at melanatedimmortals.com. Just go to the website, sign up for the email list, and you will get a notification when it becomes a self-study. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook as Melanated Immortals.
Wonderful. Now, Maya, we teach in the Hollow Mind Perceiver under the direction of the decoder, Professor Harold Cosby, that we have 5 external sense nodes. Of course, we know they extend into the internal and the etheric realms, but sticking right now with the external senses of touch, taste, smell, sound, and vision. Since your vision was limited while you were in the dark, how acute was your sense of taste, smell, sound, and touch?
So almost immediately when I came into the dark and closed the door, my sound was the first thing that was amplified. I could hear a lot, and then I actually had a experience that I used to have in childhood where I could hear all voices at once. That was almost immediate. As soon as she closed the door and I was in total darkness, I could hear all voices at one time. And then, you know, throughout, I was there for 7 days. So throughout I think that lasted for about a day, and then it kind of subsided. But, yeah, my hearing was first. And then I would say smell was next. Taste, that was definitely because, you know, I was eating in the dark. So everything tastes good. Everything tastes good. And, you know, they say if you read up on it, this is something that had been passed on to Montauk Chia. And, of course, it comes from our ancestors. This is not new. Anybody that's been initiated in certain practices, they've probably been in the dark. Okay, this is an initiation. They've been in the dark for a while. Okay, so that's part of initiation. So this is something that has been practiced in by our ancestors for a long time, but who's big time at it right now is Montauk Chia. He literally takes people into caves, and I mentioned in the last podcast that, you know, Dr. Sebi also practiced this as well in Honduras. So, but yeah, I was saying all that to say that they say it's just like you start. What happens is, when you go into that darkness, it starts, it literally acts like any of the plant medicines that you can take. You may have an ayahuasca experience, you may have a peyote experience, you may have a psilocybin experience, or marijuana experience. And what I know now, I've never partaken, whatever is the correct grammar for that, of marijuana. I never smoked or had a brownie or anything, you know. Maybe I got some secondhand smoke from it. But what I hear is that when you with marijuana, it numbs the taste buds. So that's why when they say people had the munchies, everything tastes good and everything like that. So it was like that in the dark. I mean, I was like, man, I had some of the best food in the world. Now, meanwhile, this is the same food that I'm eating on a regular basis. But it was good. Like my smoothies.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, in one of your many lectures, you mentioned that the body is only 5% of us and that the unseen part of us is a whopping 95%. Now, since you were alone, there in the dark, there wasn't much to do besides to dwell in that 95%. My question is, was your subconscious filling the beans with forgotten memories coming to the surface, or did you spend a lot of time planning and thinking?
Okay, so let me tell you. Again, all right, so the door closes. and so for the first 2 days, I'm going to say what happened is that subconscious became conscious, and it started bringing out all kinds of stuff that I thought I had gotten rid of. It's no way you could it was amazing. It was amazing. It just automatically brought that stuff up because you kind of detox. You detox physically and you also detox mentally. So all of that stuff that was there, it started coming up. And so it was a process. So it kept coming up and it kept coming up and coming up and coming up. And then to a point where I said, okay, I think it was halfway in the day 2. I said, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this. And so, I dealt with it. It got dealt with, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I didn't come in here for this. And when I come out of this, man, listen, I had some goals and things. So I didn't do a lot of it. It was kind of what do you call it? You don't really have a linear experience while you're in there. So it wasn't a lot of planning, you know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of linear. So, yeah, it wasn't like that. It was
radio.
But it was radio. Yeah, that was it. So I dealt with it in that way. And that's some of the, like I said, that's a lot of the stuff that's coming out in these courses that you guys are in, that you're taking now, because I got it. You know what I'm saying? Before, I got it now, and so I was able to pull from the darkness and be able to articulate these things. And, as I'm moving out of it myself, so.
That's beautiful. Now, let's bring it right back to the physical for a minute. What kind of setup was the darkness in? Like, were you relegated to a certain area, a room, and then what was the bathroom? And, did you have I know they weren't going to give you a bucket, okay? I know that there has to be
and then knock that bucket over. No, I was in my bedroom. So it was in my room, and my bedroom has a bathroom. So basically, we darkened the windows. We put something under the door and a curtain over the side of the door, so I couldn't see anything. Now, when she would come in, of course, the rest of the house was lit up. I had a blindfold. So, she knocked on the door and say she's coming in or whatever, and then I put my blindfold on. And then, she'd bring the food in and whatever. And then the bathroom, it was literally just like being blind. I knew how many steps. It's 4 steps from my, from my bed to the sink, 6 steps to the toilet, 8 steps to the shower,
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I knew, and I purposely, cleared everything off, and I only had, my toothbrush, toothpaste, I had just the basics. I ain't had time to put no shea butter on and nothing like that. I'll probably ashy.
Right.
And everything. You know what I'm saying?
Were you at your house, or were you at a specific retreat?
No, I was at my house.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said that when you went in, you could feel the presence of the ancestors and things like that when you went into the complete darkness?
No, well, that wasn't right away. That came a little later. The first thing really was the mental. For me, it was all my stuff that I had stuck.
Yeah.
That came right later. That's when, I had lots of conversations with, divine entities, whether they be ancestors, whether they be deities, thought forms, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We had lots of conversations, but that was, day 4, 5, 6, 7, that was later on. I had to get rid of my stuff first. And,
clear the filter.
Yeah, and then I had a lot, and I'm still having them. I had lots and lots of lucid dreaming.
Wow, that sounds amazing. My
every
God,
night
I just got one more. Every night you had a lucid dream? You said every night or just?
Every night, and I'm still having them.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. You didn't have to take no gold and put it under your tongue and all of that. You just simply having them.
No.
Wow.
Just having them.
Okay, this is the last question, but I gotta lead up into the question. So it's no secret that I'm a member of Mimic. I'm Ken 258, the Spectrum Mirror, and I'm adamant about the melanin dominant population taking this pulse shift seriously. Now, I remember a time before we had access to all of the technology, telephone, computer. You could just simply go outside and feel that something was different. If there was actually something different, you could feel it. No matter if it was the weather or that somebody had been around your property, we were more in touch with our senses. So we find people are out of touch with nature and their own senses in today. And people have their heads hanging down and looking at the devices, and things like that. How do you think anyone so attached to their technology will last emotionally, mentally, and physically in the dark, like you were just saying? How would they handle it?
Mama and Yame, since she trains people to facilitate people in the dark, and so she's had many experiences. There have been people who had to come out, like they couldn't even stay. That no way they'd stay for 7 days. They couldn't stay for 7 days. And I know when I was in here, I said, well, wait a minute. If I'm who I am and I have done all of this, deep work and everything on myself, and I'm in here and, all of my old stuff is coming out or whatever, I said, I think it would be difficult. I think it really would be difficult for someone to come to the dark. Cold turkey. I think that they would have to do some. I think that if they knew, okay, I'm going in the dark in March, I would say in February, little by little, they would have to kind of disconnect some things because it's a huge difference. One of the things that went was the sense of direction. Okay, by the third or fourth day, there's no sense. I would wake up and say, I don't know what direction I'm in. And so I think I'd be walking towards the dresser where she would put the food, and I'd be in a whole nother direction. I'd be walking towards the window. So you lose. Yeah, it's interesting because what you realize is everything is you. It is you. You are the cosmos. You are the direction. That's all you. It's whatever direction you going in, that's the direction the cosmos is going. It's not. It's just so profound. Just the experience. So yeah, I think they would have to really do some pre-work. And then let me tell
you, debrief before they go in from the technology.
Absolutely. I would recommend doing some pre-work, especially if you, depending on where you are, I would say, hey, listen, do some pre-work. It's not a problem for me I'm a person who I'll leave my cell phone in the car and I won't come back and looking for another 6-7 hours. Be like, oh, you know, oh, that's why my phone has been ringing, because I don't have it. You know what I'm saying? It's in the car. So I think I was kind of already primed for it, and then, you know, I'm good. I'm gangster. Like, throw me in. Come on.
But see, you old school though. You know what I'm saying? It might make a little difference compared to the young folks now who don't remember a time when it's never been a cell phone. They came in born into the computers. You know, and then a lot of these young parents give their babies their cell phones like a babysitter and a pacifier. So now for them to go into a complete dark way would be a shock. You know, I think. You know, compared to people who like us who remember a time when we didn't even have the stuff.
We didn't have it, and you know, you can go in for a different length of time. If you want the full experience, you got to do at least 7 days. That's what she said. Okay, 3 days is real good. You can even go in for a day, and then we coming up, we will be having some sessions where you can experience it for an hour. In fact, last night, I miss it. Like, I miss it because now the room is so lit up to me now at night. And I live in the suburbs. It's pretty dark out here. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was dark out here. And now at night I be sitting around like I could see everything, you know. And so I was doing some meditating. I said, you know what? I'm gonna need to be in that dark. I'm gonna need to be in that pure black. So I went in my closet, you know, turned around, and, you know, I was like, whoo, I'm back. And, you know, it was just like being in the dark. And so I knew I would be using my closet, especially in the daytime. I can't do it because there's too much light coming through the door. But at night, it's dark enough in the room. And then if I turn around, I can't see the corners of the door. You know, I can really go back to that experience. So I went in for about, 15 minutes and came out with complete clarity.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, I thank you for being my guest and for sharing information that I know the audience will find useful in their spiritual journey. So I'm going to ask for people to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and check out the classes that we have to offer here in Mimic. Not only will you find my classes with the womb evolution programs and techniques, we also find the Holomic Receiver and the Law of Time classes. Until next time, peace, immortals.
All right, Hotep.